hopefully,
I don't.
hopefully no side effects. That's what scares me, that you hear some side effects.
Good. All right. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call to order this public meeting of the Board of Johnson County Commissioners on this 24th day of August 2020 at 10 o'clock a.m. Please pray with us if you care to, and then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you bow with me for a moment of prayer, please? Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you with grateful hearts each and every day. Dear Lord, we thank you for this wonderful and great country that we live in. Dear Lord, I couldn't help but notice in driving in this morning the crops in the fields, the lush green colors of the beans and the corn before they begin to turn, and how bountiful your blessing has been in bestowing those kind of products on us. Dear Lord, we're just ever grateful for all you do for us. Be with us today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Planning and zoning update on efforts and initiatives involving Johnson County Trails Master Plan.
Good morning, Carmen Parker, Johnson County Trails Chair, and I just wanted to come and provide you all with an update. It's been almost a year since you all adopted the countywide comprehensive master trail plan, and just wanted to kind of give you an around the county update as well as what the Johnson County Trails organization has been up to. So you probably have noticed a lot of construction just to the south of you here at Franklin with their amphitheater. That the city of Franklin has done a lot of work despite all of the C word that I'm not going to mention. But they have continued to move forward with a lot of projects with their amphitheater that will be inclusive of trails all around it. As they're doing a ton of stuff with making some connections that are important here. Just again, just south of this, as well as they're preparing for the US 31 corridor, having trails on both sides of US 31 from city limit to city limit. Greenwood has been working, a couple of their projects were put on hold, but they are working to connect Northwest Park to the Northwest Park Annex. A couple of the projects that were put on hold is the IPL trail from County Line to Fry Road, as well as the Howard Road tunnel that will go underneath Main Street. Bargersville has updated their comprehensive plan for their entire community, of which they have taken the countywide trail plan and incorporated that into their comprehensive plan. So that was good to see that our municipalities are taking that serious and incorporating that. As well as Trafalgar, they have master planning grant was approved by the state, so they're moving forward with their projects that they have been working on. So that's just kind of an around the county update. And as development occurs, we are seeing in the town of Whiteland, as development occurs, trails are being requested and required on certain parcels and things of that nature. So just to bring you up to speed on our group as we sit. So you all are familiar with the Aspire Johnson County, and at the beginning of the year, the Johnson County Development Corporation and Greenwood Chamber merged into Aspire. And the trails had kind of always sat underneath one of the committees there, the growth and planning team. Over this last year, we've kind of tried to figure out what are our next steps. Are we the chicken or are we the egg, and how do we move forward? With the group that we have, we're not an official 501c3, as Aspire is not a 501c3, they're a 501c6. So that really limits them in their abilities to apply for certain funding, especially, they're not a charitable nonprofit. They do have a fund at the Community Foundation, of which our dollars have been sitting with their dollars since the inception of Johnson County Trails, and even before that with a donation that came from Center Grove Trails. So we have decided as our group that we would like to pursue our own 501c3 status, and we have asked Aspire to, for our donations that have been earmarked for trails, to set up and establish our own fund at the Community Foundation in the interim that we're establishing our 501c3. It was kind of one of those things where, do we jump, do we fly from the nest and let's see where we go? But we really feel that with the funding opportunities that we may be missing, and it's very convoluted to find us right now, because we are, again, underneath Aspire Johnson County Growth and Planning Team, and then Trails just kind of sits there. So we are hoping by October to have our own funds set up at the Community Foundation. And then by the end of the year, we've already started on the paperwork for the 501c3. So that's kind of where we're at. I would love to say that we've physically been building trails, but we haven't. You know, we do still have some of that low hanging fruit, but we really are looking to rely on our municipalities to help guide them if there's any questions, you know, that the county is working on the I-69 and wherever we can be an asset to help with that. So that's kind of where we're at. It's the direction that we've decided to take the organization and establishing our own nonprofit and hoping that we can get some funding to come with it. So do you guys have any questions?
Are those funds, those commingled funds, are they currently in the Johnson County Community Foundation? They're in there now?
They are.
You're just gonna separate them out so you won't be available for matching fund arrangements. You know, a lot of times when you put money in to start a fund in the community foundation, they get matching funds from Willie's or somebody.
As of right now, I just would like to have our dollars just pulled and separated. We've reconciled with what we know is there. And now we're just waiting on Aspire to reconcile on their end, to say this is what is on your end for trails that's been deemed for earmarked trails. As far as when it comes to our matching, I really feel we've really relied on, we've looked at other communities that have done this. The Cardinal Greenways is a total volunteer nonprofit organization that the Cardinal Greenways goes from Richmond, Indiana, all the way up to Marion, Indiana. So it not only encompasses multiple counties, but it's been a volunteer organization. So we've relied on learning what others are doing. Warwick County Trails down near Vanderburgh County, they have a great system set up, and so we really looked again to rely on, let's not recreate the wheel. This whole organization started because we borrowed an idea from Hancock County. So we're really, you know, looking to save dollars, you know, in the establishing of 501c3 and all the stuff we have to come up with, articles of incorporation and bylaws and such. Why recreate the wheel? So with those dollars, I mean, I really feel once we get our own fund established, it'll make us more attractive, and we'll be able to apply for funding and start doing some fundraisers. It'll make it easier to find us and make a donation.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Carmen. Good day. Board of Commissioners, resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the County of Johnson, Indiana, approving issuance of general obligation bonds of the county. Let's get right there. I don't know why. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed you, Lou. That's twice I've done that to you.
Twice in 2 meetings.
Yeah. Well, it kind of runs together right there. The way I'm looking at it. The award of bid of the 2020 countywide road repair program.
Luke Maston, Highway Director. Yes, as you said, we're recommending award of our 2020 countywide road repair program contract based on the bids received at your last meeting. We recommend that contract be awarded to Harding Group, the amount of $995,199.30.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Maybe that's why I forgot about it. That was simple.
It was so.
Hey, Luke, has Harding got this before?
No, Harding has bid on our contract before, but they've not been the low bidder before.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's nice.
All right.
Good, thanks.
In relation to Carmen's update on trails, I was just thinking about, like when we do a frontage road along I-69, thought about doing anything in regard to trails along that, or has that been closed, or?
I'd have to look at the trails plan to know if we included those routes or not. I would say the odds are probably good. We would look at including those, even if they didn't end up in the plan. It's just that's an ideal place to have them.
And when you're building the frontage road or access road, it'd be a perfect time and it would lessen the construction costs of any kind of trail implementation.
Absolutely. And we've had other situations where we didn't necessarily have the money to include the construction of the trail up front, but we've designed our dirt grading to allow for that to be built later. So there are a lot of options that we can do. The frontage road is nice because we're not trying to fit a lot of road and trail width in an existing right of way when there's other houses around. The frontage road, if it's done before any development happens, we've got a clean slate.
Would there be any specific mandated requirements on the construction of a trail? And what I'm referencing there, I've watched Franklin as an example. When they put in a trail, they excavate 8 inches, put 5 inches of 53 stone in, 2 inches of number 9 binder, and then an inch of surface. I mean, it's really costly to do it. Where my experience has been, you could put asphalt right on the ground, 3 inches of binder, and it'll last for 20 years or longer. And it's about a third of the cost of trying to do the typical kind of construction they're doing. So would there be any reason we couldn't do it that way?
Not necessarily. There are some NDOT standards on pavement sections that you should use. If we're using local funding, I don't know that we're necessarily tied to those. Width would be probably the more critical factor because there are some minimum widths that we need to reach to meet ADA standards. But
You mean what?
ADA standards.
8 foot? Is it 8 foot?
Yeah, I think it's 5 foot for a sidewalk and 8 foot for a trail.
Yeah.
But as far as the pavement section that we use, as long as there's no federal or state dollars involved, we have the ability to use whatever section we would like.
We could put in 3 times the length of trails that some of these local governments are doing based on cost. I'm not suggesting we would, I'm just saying that we could. All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the resolution of the Board of Commissioners, County of Johnson, Indiana, approving the issuance of general obligation bonds of the county.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I just had a quick note I made this morning when I was looking at your estimated cost on the bond proceeds and the uses. And the $85,000 for issuance of the bond. And there's just gotta be an alternative financing mechanism that county, or not just the county, but any local government unit should be able to avail themselves to be able to do the same thing that we're doing, establish or keep an existing rate, but not have to pay $85,000 to do it. It's back to borrowing, which Sheena and I talked about on numerous occasions, but I think somebody ought to be looking into that, but maybe it's a General Assembly thing. More than likely, they'd have to enact some House bill that would have oversight on that. And it'd probably be a hard argument because they're tied to the hip with a lot of these legal firms that do the bonding, but it's about 4% of the cost of the project going into that. And I know the Commissioner Baird could use that 85,000 somewhere else. Just a thought. I'll throw it out there.
Some of it this year is for the bond rating also. It's not just the financial and the legal. Some would be paying a company for a bond rating.
Yeah, this is an unusual year as far as that. Those soft costs normally aren't that high.
Yeah, Yes, normally we put in around maybe
50 to
50,000.
55,000, you know,
Even that, you know.
Well, it's still, I agree.
substantial, yeah.
for paperwork, that's really just turnaround paperwork that's done.
Pretty
every
much
time we-
boilerplate, I
Yeah,
think, for those
every time
guys.
we do one. No, I agree. And that's discussions we've had, but, can't seem to get anybody in any better line on doing it than what we've got now. Yeah, that would be, good money we could use somewhere else, for sure, I agree. And maybe there's a different way, maybe look at that, maybe there's a different way to do it than the way we're doing it. Something we can talk about. Incarcerated Offenders Provider Agreement, Johnson County, 2021.
Any handle on that? No?
Sarah, I mean, I can do it if you want.
Oh, Sarah, okay.
I mean, Sarah Hefner, Assistant County Attorney. I obviously don't represent FSSA, so I don't know that I can answer a whole lot of questions for you on this, but it's substantially the same agreement that you signed in 2015. It just provides Medicaid coverage for eligible offenders and just kind of provides you the process as to who's paying what.
Which I think that was enacted in 2015.
Yes.
Was it not?
What's our percentage of reimbursement to the state on that?
I don't have the contract in front of me, but it should provide it in the.
I kind of read through it, just kind of skipped to it, I didn't see that. Andy, I don't know if how much you're aware of that, but 2 or 3 years ago, we negotiated a deal with Adult and Child that they were going to provide a navigator to the sheriff's department to get these people to give them directions and help them get set up on Medicaid. Are they still doing that for you guys?
No, they're not doing that for us right now. There's some bigger discussions going on about having a navigator that helps people out once they leave incarceration, but that's not occurred yet. No.
Yeah, we worked that, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but we had that all set up, and that's the service they were gonna provide. I'll call Alan Brown and we'll look into that again, because that would be a great service to you guys. Have somebody other than your own personnel have to try to do that. Well, Alan Brown,
I can go for approval.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Sarah. Acceptance of lowest quote for a project pursuant to IC 36-1-12-5, trimming of trees at the courthouse west annex and north annex.
We have 3 quotes for this project. First is from Brown's Tree Service for $3,200. The second is from Cox's Tree Service for $2,750. And the lowest quote is from N&S Tree Service for $2,525.
Jason, are you good with all those companies?
Move to approve the lowest one at $2,525.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the lowest bid, N&S Tree Services. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. George is on the job. Courthouse renovation project, approval of change order number 6.
Good morning, Dan Cartwright, project manager. I'll give you a little update of what's going on in the courthouse and what the schedule looks like right now. We have only the work at the stair tower left to do, with the exception of a small amount of painting that needs to be done on the south side where the stair scaffold presently is. Will be done after the stair scaffold is down. Everything on the clock tower is completed, except for painting. All the metal work's been done, the tuck pointing, and that sort of stuff has all been done. So this week they'll be painting the area from the clock down to the roof. That's probably a week's work. worth of work, maybe a week and a half's worth of work. And then basically we're done up there. And then we'll start pulling the rest of the scaffolding down. So the goal is by the end of this month, which is like a week from now, to basically start tearing the scaffolding down and hauling things away. And the remaining work will be done from the ground. And there's probably a week's worth of work after that. So it's gonna take a long time to take that scaffold down and haul it away, but that's the status of it. What I'm here today for is seeking approval of change order number 6 for the courthouse project. Change order number 6 is something that we determined needed to be done. It has to do with the Christmas lights. The Christmas lights that hang from the top of the clock tower down to those corners is all pulled up through a rope around a pulley up at the top of the clock tower and then back down. Well, that pulley and that rope, as far as anyone can tell, is the original pulley and rope. It's been up there for years and has a lot of wear on it. So this change order is to replace the pulley, the hardware up there, and the rope since we're up there, now's the time to do it, get it done. So with that, that's what I'm seeking approval of for the amount of $4,800 for change order number 6 to the courthouse project.
How much of that 48 labor?
Majority of it.
4,500.
Yeah, that's gonna say.
I don't know.
We do have
Ron.
crane costs in that. We do
Yes,
have crane
yes,
costs.
certainly, it's
It has to be a
requires
bucket
crane.
truck up there, so.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the one question I've got is, I've noticed when you look up, sometimes you can see some paint that maybe looks like it's spilled or been dripped in large amounts. Are they gonna inspect all that before they come
Oh,
down?
yeah,
Okay. I just noticed on this west side, I saw some the other
on the
day.
west side, like on the brick or something.
It was actually on the shale and down onto the limestone a little bit. But I know the limestone are gonna clean.
It might have been bird poop too.
Well, it'd been a massive amount of it. It's one big bird.
We'll get it cleaned
But
up.
it's just, you might just make sure that they look at that. I can't tell from the ground, and when I was up there the other day, of course, it's on the other side. I didn't see it from there the other day. So anyway, just want to make sure that came up. Courthouse, what we got? Irish Mechanical Services, approval of contract for restroom updates.
Okay, what we're talking about here, we're talking about the CARES Act, Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act. And if you recall at your last meeting on the 10th, I believe it was, we opened bids for the installation of the equipment to make all of the restrooms hands-free. And after analyzing those bids, we have determined that the low bid for the majority of the work is going to, our recommendation is to award the contract to Irish Mechanical for $214,949.
Might as well do both of them together, could we not, since the other one's in addition, or does it matter to you?
Just do one at a time, please.
Move for approval with ours.
Well, although I have reservations on spending that kind of money, where I didn't think it was needed, I'll go ahead and second it.
Somebody's gonna spend it, Commissioner.
Yeah, but it's tax dollars.
Somebody's gonna spend it. So, if it's not us, it's gonna be somebody else using that same money.
I know.
Given toward us. That's the way I look at it anyway. Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Sexton Mechanical Corporation for their part in that.
Yeah, this is the same thing. Sexton was low on one building. We gave them the opportunity to pass on it if they wanted to. They said, no, we'll go ahead and do the one building. We said, fine, you're low bid. And that's what this award is for Sexton to do their work, $5,073.20.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion, second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Vision Industrial Coatings Approval Contract for Courthouse Basement Waterproofing Continuation.
Okay, as you know, back, I don't know, a couple months ago, we took competitive bids for the waterproofing of where the moisture was getting into the voters registration area, and paint was actually peeling off the inside of the basement wall. We took competitive bids. We awarded a contract to Vision Industrial Coatings for $35,000. That was for 64 lineal foot along that north elevation of the outside wall. And if you recall, what they do is they dig all the way down below the footer. They put a subdrain in there, backfill with gravel, and then put the tar application on the existing exterior wall from the footing all the way from the foundation, by the foundation all the way up, and then put a membrane waterproofing material on top of that. They completed that job. We've actually paid for it, I believe, and it worked. It worked very well at that particular area. But like normal stuff, when you block water here, it's going to find someplace else, and that's exactly what it did. The water is now getting through the outside wall, west of that area, right next to the stairs, the north entrance of the stairs, north entrance into the courthouse. So we went back to Vision and said, hey, we got to figure out a way to get that solved. We had the Vision representative, Jason, myself, and the Teneba guy, which is what the actual product is that's applied. We all agreed that needs to be continued around to that area. Incidentally, we've had hardly any rain in the last 2 weeks, but Jason's crew has been in there twice when we had these little rains and have actually had to shop vac. So you can imagine what's going to happen if we get a couple inches of rain. If we got a couple inches of rain, that water's going to go in there and voter registration is going to be shut down. We can't let voter registration shut down at this time of the year with the election coming up. So for that reason, we're asking for an emergency situation and award a contract to Vision for $16,500. We paid them $35,000 first time for 64 foot. There's 30 foot more here, and they're going to tie on to the pipe that they had already installed and continue waterproofing where they left off before. So
And that takes it to the east stairwell.
it takes it to around the east stairway, well, on the east side of the stairs itself, because that's actually part of a basement.
But you weren't getting that much water infiltration originally, were you? I thought we just were getting some seepage on the walls.
You're correct.
Now you're getting water that you got to vacuum out?
Yeah,
That doesn't sound like.
we had some water that we had to vac before too,
Yeah.
We did.
Oh, yeah.
but a lot of it was just peeling off. It's a masonry wall, and the paint was just peeling off. It actually had plaster on it, and it's all peeling off and stuff. That's what
But
the
the
original.
question is, Jason, are you getting more water now than you were getting before?
It appears to be, yes.
And then in light of very little rain in the last couple of weeks,
I don't
I
have
would think you got a problem more than just groundwater infiltration, haven't you?
Well, there is nothing else there.
Then where's the water coming from?
We don't know the answer to that. I mean, to be honest, I'm not answering you short, trying to be short with you, but we don't know.
Jason has done inspections up in the ceilings and the walls though, and it's not coming from there. So
Yeah, there's just nothing there.
it's gotta be coming from the
It
ground.
only happens when it's raining or right after the rain, so.
And what happens is, Commissioner, you got an old building, the foundation stinks on it. And what we've done is we brought that water and basically what we've done is pushed it. Probably should have went ahead and done this all the way around while we were there, to be honest with you, but we just tried to take care of the problem at hand, which was the clerk's area, which is now that's resolved. But what we're basically doing is we're shoving water. So now we're gonna shove it down further, and hopefully when you get down to the corner there, instead of shoving it into the wall, we'll shove it out into the grass where we can pick it up with a beehive if we need to later, or hopefully it'll just stay there and go away like groundwater does. But we're just gonna have to keep shoving. That's what we're gonna have to do.
I understand that, but you can't shove more than what you had.
No, but it's just moving,
Sounds
what
like
it's
you-
doing.
Sounds like you got more than what you had.
Well, it's just that whole area now is moved to that one little area instead of it coming all the way around. Before it was
It's
coming,
got a shorter area to accumulate.
yeah, it was coming north and east before. Now it's just all shoving east and south of there.
And we had a very ineffective under drain going around that building. We did expose the under drain that went around the outside of the foundation, but it was probably 4 foot higher at the bottom of the foundation as far as grade is
Which
concerned.
is why it was pushing.
Now we're pulling it down. An under drain is gonna be at the bottom of the foundation.
Which should take care of 85–90% of the water, I would think.
Where's the water go once it gets into the under drain?
There's a catch basin out there, there's a manhole out there.
So you got
Yeah.
an outlet for it.
And that's what I'm saying, if we can, if at least we can get it shoved into the grass area, then we can deal with it there to get it away from the building. But I think this will solve 85–90% of our problem.
And how many lineal feet is this one?
This one has
30.
30 foot. The original one was 64, yeah.
And that takes us to the stairs and around, though. That gets that water shoved away from the building, which is, I think, what we're gonna have to do.
As you know, when you deal with these kind of situations, you just
Oh, yeah.
Blame it on the plumber.
you just never know
Anytime
what,
there's water.
you just never know what you're gonna run into.
While we're looking at this, would it be beneficial to look at the whole building instead of keep piecemealing a second, tearing it up multiple times? To tie the south side back around to the north and take care of it once and for all? Or are we gonna be dealing with south side next when it fails?
Kevin, to be honest with you, we don't know what's on the south side. I mean, there's no way of knowing what,
You got some stairwells going down there.
I mean, we don't know what's in the ground back down there.
Yeah.
My concern with that is anytime you disturb something, you could,
Is it clay tile that was there originally?
plastic.
Oh, what? So this has been done sometime.
I think it was plastic, I can't remember, was it clay or plastic that old
I
time?
mean, clay would be original. There's no way they had plastic.
No, I don't think it was plastic. Matter of fact, I think it might have been. What's the word I'm looking for?
I didn't see it. Vitrified clay.
Corrugated steel?
No. The black stuff, black hard stuff.
Cast iron.
Well, you're close.
Well, I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, eventually that product's gonna get out around the whole building.
It could very well, but I hate to go in there and start
Either
digging.
an X-ray, can you do an X-ray of the ground, maybe to pick it up?
I have no idea.
So, I know they've got a long way in technology. They can X-ray some of that to find out where,
You can
and
find
find out what
pool.
depth. The thing that worries me is
Pool
about
water.
what depth, it is that if you're 4 foot above foundation level, it needs to go down.
What we've got to do though is we got to get this water away from the building.
Yeah.
And hopefully, because of the structure to the south, if anything else, it'll shove it out into the grass is what I'm.
Oh, no, I know you're trying to fix this problem. I'm just looking at an overall
Oh,
problem
yeah,
with the whole
but Go
building.
around the south side, you're talking a lot of that, I would want to wait to see if.
If this handles.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that would be, we're talking really outrageous.
I think there's a good chance we may have to do that sometime, but boy, I hate to go in there and disturb that dirt if we don't have any water problems now, because as soon as we go in there and start digging up,
Could you bore that?
I'm sorry,
Could you bore it? on
You
the
still
south
gotta,
side?
you still gotta get in there and you gotta take care
you
of.
gotta actually
foundation
waterproof the
too.
wall, you gotta expose the wall.
I'm just talking about putting a perimeter drain.
I don't know if you could bore that.
I don't know if you have to.
I don't know about on the south side, you could bore it everywhere else, you could bore it on the west side.
You have to bore onto the stairs,
Well,
I'm
that's
sure
sure I say bore because of the
And-
stairs and all
and
that.
stairs-
So,
Might be able to.
Under those stairs, there's actually rooms, isn't there?
On the north and south side, yes.
There's basement rooms under the stairs.
Yeah, but you're gonna be
still
boring,
be
I don't know
boring
what
with
the foundation
Yeah, I
depth
know.
is, but that's probably 10 feet below ground level.
It might be a question to ask SSI. There was a few more companies around here that would know to be able to handle something like that.
I mean, I would like a little further investigation on that. I mean, I know we're gonna fix the problem here,
We
but
don't have a choice at this point.
yeah, you've gotta do this, so, I mean, I don't know if we move for approval, but I'm gonna move for approval on this, and I think, you know, if we want to look a little bit further, have Dan investigate that a little bit. You know, it can be at the worst opportune time, when it starts leaking in January, then you got a problem. February, you got a problem, so.
You make a motion.
I did.
I have a motion, second, any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, and I do want to add to that though, gentlemen, we're looking at doing some other work on the north side of the courthouse around to the northwest side that we're going to be looking at possibly to get in the bond and do some work that really needs to be done to straighten all that up. And that would probably be a good time to look at the north and the west.
I'm fine. I would like to see it looked at.
Because we're going to be tearing up a lot of ground in that area here if we can get plans put together and figure out what we're going to do with the sidewalks and things there that we're having some issues with. So, and we, Dan and Jason and I have already met on that, looking at that. So that could be something we could pull with that. Yes. Yeah, we need to make everything we can to preserve what we have. So anyway, that, just so you guys know, there is some plans to look at that at that time.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Approval of the 2021 holiday schedule.
I had a question on it. I thought we had 15 paid holidays before. I know we've got the 2 election days out of here.
Was how Christmas falls next year.
It's just how the way it falls.
Given that we've taken the two election days out, I was gonna propose that maybe at Christmas time, we do Thursday and Friday. And that'd give them 4 days during that period. That's one more day. Where they're losing 2, right?
No election, correct.
Losing 2 from an election, and then just because of the way Christmas falls, we lose another. So we have 15 this year.
I can't hear you.
You're correct, we have 15 this year, and then there's 12 on the schedule for next year because of the 2 election days and the way Christmas falls.
Yeah. So I was just gonna suggest that maybe we would do that, given everything else that's gone on with this year, and who knows what will be done December 23rd. That would be my suggestion. Or would Commissioner Bear get
Well, I go back to your statement, is all taxpayer money,
That's right.
so
I'd rather put it there than in the bathroom.
I don't disagree with that, to be honest.
I think that'd be a wonderful Christmas present for the employees, given everything else that they've had to endure this year.
You know, with I tend to have to agree with that with the year we've had, but it's been one of those years.
You want to designate, I guess I'd ask Commissioner West, do you want to designate that day particular Christmas, or would you be more in tune with a floating holiday that might be more beneficial for other people?
Well, the only reason that I would suggest that day versus a floating holiday is because then they can schedule their workloads around it. They know that they're gonna be closed that day. On a floating holiday, you got that, but I could go with either one. I just thought that it would just be apropos for that time of year.
We'll call it the 2020 holiday, how's that?
There you go.
Yeah.
Call it the
Be
COVID
glad just to
holiday.
just get out of 2020, let's get out of 2020. I'll second Commissioner West's proposal.
Have a motion and a second to add the Thursday prior to Christmas onto our holiday list. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The approval of the 2021 Commissioners meeting schedule. If there's no conflicts,
I don't see it for approval as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Claims, credit card under new and old business.
Luke Webb, I was gonna ask, they bought a barn fan, 60-inch barn fan for $700. And I know they got it at Tractor Supply. I was just gonna ask. That was for their garage, I think, for their mechanical. Hell, that'd blow a guy away. I don't know how
Yeah,
close that fan is
they,
in proximity to where they're working, but my God.
I think they put it down at the one end, blows all the way through, so actually it's not that.
Okay, that's a big, and then one for Dwayne's not here, but one for the sheriff. There was a claim for air wedges. And I just wonder, is anything like a sky hook?
Narrow wedges.
When I saw air wedge, what is an air wedge? You know what a sky hook is, right? Everybody knows what that is.
I was thinking air wedge would be some kind of wedge you would blow up to lift something.
It might be for SWAT.
Anyway,
I bet it's or that or the boat, maybe a boat or something.
it wasn't very expensive because I didn't even write the price down, but I just.
Oh, you know what, how much was it, sir?
Huh?
How much was it?
I don't know, I didn't write I could go back and
I
find
bet, I
out.
know what it is. It's for the lockouts. When we do lockouts on vehicles, the wedge
Slide
goes,
down into the
you
windshield.
slide down and you
Into the
pump it
window.
up and it separates the.
That makes sense.
Oh, okay.
That makes
All
sense.
right.
If it's not very expensive, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Those are handy to have, by the way. They sure save a car from getting destroyed.
They pop after a little while and we have to replace them.
all right. Always try to find a little humor in the sheriff's department.
Sheriff wouldn't have known that, probably.
And then
But
I got,
Amazon, that's what Amazon says it is.
what is it?
Amazon says that it's a ship.
Shit. Okay, then, and this
So-
happens frequently on credit card ending in 0248. We get the manifest, but they never put down what department it is. So if anybody knows right off.
And there's that on the last one too.
Yeah, they, well, they had, under checks and deposit tickets, $608.12, and I can imagine any department writing that many checks. And I don't know why they would pay for deposit slips, but you find out,
I'll check.
so let us know what department they, just ask them to put their title on
Deposit
there. And
slips.
that's all I've got.
Deposit slips, everything
Huh?
be free. Deposit slips should be free.
Yeah.
Thing.
The booklets on
Oh, really?
it, they charge you for
Didn't know that.
Or
I
you
get
can
mine
win-
for free.
you
them.
can just
Commercial
win, get a whole
deposit
handful and it's
booklets are
down.
not free. They
Yeah.
come from Deluxe or somebody like that.
I'll
Yeah,
check.
if you have them printed, but I'm saying you could go to the bank and get a whole handful of deposit slips for free.
They're probably using duplicates.
I'll check and make sure to verify, but I know on the jail bond, we're having to do some things totally separate. I'm making some payments and some deposits, so I don't know if it has to do with it or not, but I will check and see. Let you know.
Well, and the other thing I was thinking, I know most everybody does this, and I was probably the last one to the dance on, in regard to this, but you can just, through your bank account, direct payment to, I mean, nobody pays by mail anymore, we do it through our bank account, and so they obviously got a bank account. I don't know why they wouldn't be doing that instead of physically writing checks. They save the postage, they save the cost of the checks.
There's,
You'll find out.
there are several circumstances that you would write a check, and the jail bond comes back to mind. Do you remember when we got so much in interest?
Yeah.
It went in separate, and then we paid that toward the first bond payments.
Hmm.
The only way to do that was by check. So that, sometimes you just don't.
But the bank actually generates a check. They send a check to the recipient.
We
where they
still
can.
physically write some checks.
Anyway, it's just something to think about. $608.12.
But I'll find out for sure.
All right, that's all I got.
I still write checks. Some I don't, some
You approve?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Second.
I have a motion. Have a partial motion in the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Commissioner minutes, 7/13/2020.
Move to approve. Second.
Let me get the second one in. 7/27/2020.
Second.
Yeah, but yes.
A motion second. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Public comment and I just noticed Lydia's here.
Back there.
I
I'd
saw
love to
her,
hear from Lydia.
I saw her slip in.
Sorry, I'm late.
You're not late, you're on time.
No, we're working on the IHCDA program, and they called a meeting at 10 o'clock today, and I was like, I can't be in both places at once. So I've talked to you guys about this a little bit. Some of you have heard. Union Township, Franklin Township, and Needham Township are going to merge pending board approval. We are looking to make it effective January 1st of 2023. That way the current boards and the trustees can finish out their terms. So January 1st, 2023 is the date we're looking at it. We are doing this to eliminate duplicated salaries, duplicated rent, duplicated phones, just so many expenses. My accountant went over it just at a first glance. In 1 year, just her glancing at it, she's seeing a $36,000 a year savings
Wow.
by doing this. And that's just her looking at it. So once we dig into the guts of it, I'm sure there's going to be more. It's also going to put all of our schools in one township because it'll be straight across the county. It's going to give clients an established office building to go to. And we saw this during COVID. When we weren't meeting clients, we were giving them the paperwork to fill out. 99% of the time it didn't come back. Our applications are 10 pages long and people have trouble with them. So if they have a building to go to, we can help them fill out the application and guide them, you know, on what to do. So I think that's going to benefit Union and Needham
Don't you
greatly.
think you'll find some people that can't get to you?
We have a township vehicle. If people can't get to us because of the distance, we can go pick them up. So that was one of the questions that somebody had asked me because we're spreading it out. But we do have a township vehicle we can't
I just
use.
know that delivers a lot of applications because people can't get to
Right.
physically get there.
Right, and I mean, if it's transportation, we will get them to the office. If it's medical reasons they can't get to us, we go to them anyway, so we've got that one. But then it will also eliminate the confusion of having a Franklin address and not living in Franklin Township. That's a big one we hear constantly.
Lydia, would you say who you are?
Oh, Lydia Wells, Franklin Township trustee, sorry. But we anticipate having our public hearing probably mid-March of 2021 to make it go effective January 1st of 2023.
But are they gonna start maybe split these into what we call districts? Are you gonna continue on with this? Or are you gonna maybe do a District 1, District 2, District 3 and do the same thing across the north and the south that you're doing in Central Park?
I'm not having any part of those. I wish I've already let the other township trustees know, the north and south, that we are doing this and we got, good job. That was all I got back from one trustee. So if they look at doing it, that's on them. I don't think we should go any further than the 3 straight across.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you went to 3 south, 3 central, and 3 north, then you would be District 1, 2, and 3, just like the Commissioner District.
Right, I think that's
That would be wise.
Something
what
for
I've
the-
seen.
The only thing I can see is White River and Pleasant are the 2 largest. That would really make that one a large, extremely large township for one office to cover. I mean, not saying they couldn't do it, but yeah, I don't know.
That would be even more money savings.
Right. So, but I will keep you guys updated, and if you guys can support us on this, or if you have any questions, please reach out to me.
2 things. You have my full support on this.
Okay.
Second thing, send us a reminder for when you're having your public hearing. If
I
you
will.
would.
I will.
I would like to attend.
Okay, and I need to talk to you about getting, introduced over in Barbersville area.
I can do
So-
that.
Just reach out, give me a call and we'll get something set up.
I can do that.
All right?
Thanks,
Lydia,
Andy.
thank you
Thank
very,
you.
very much. I know this is a big undertaking.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll get it.
Any other public comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
To adjourn, please.
Second.
A motion is second, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.